Thank you for coming to our session today. Before we start, I want to ask a general question for the audience. How many of you know what culture is? Raise your hand if you know. I think you know. Now, how many of you have experienced different culture? Remember what Terry Watson said, experience. Okay. For me, Ryan has introduced me, I'm not born in this country. English is not my first language, but that's not the biggest barrier. The biggest barrier for me to overcome is the culture biases. I was raised in Hong Kong. It's a thriving city south of China with over 7 million people right now. You would think in a city with so many people, you would be comfortable with people with different cultures. Quite the contrary. I felt like I was isolated, living in a city, working, living, mingling with friends and different people. I felt like I'm in a bubble. Everybody in Hong Kong live in individual apartments, so you don't see the homes that you have here in the United States. First, when I come to the US was about 16 years ago. That was the year right after 9/11. I know that was a tragedy. I don't want to bring up that story, but it is something to remind. When I first come here, the year after this tragedy, every one of us was treated like an alien. It's very difficult at the time. I've been through this journey as a foreign exchange student after earning a scholarship in the US, and I thought maybe I would get accepted into some kind of host family. Who knows where I'll be sent to? There's 50 states here, maybe Alaska. Who knows, right? Ended up in a state that started with O, not Ohio. What's the other state that started with O? There you go. No, Oregon. I'll even ask this state. Maybe some of you might catch that. It was in the middle of the country. I was forced to interact with people from different cultural background, different practices. They have a different value, traditional value, different than what I have experienced through the first half of my life. Coming here, it's very difficult. This is an interesting story because my first host family was very busy. She has to work, single mom. And I'm responsible to taking care of her house while I'm studying high school. During one of my trips, she advised me to probably get some kind of transportation. At the time, I wasn't legally to drive in the US. So I had to learn how to go around, to ask, and to learn how to buy groceries. From that aspect, it's already difficult. Imagine there was a time before cell phone, no Facebook, okay? No YouTube, no nothing. It's before that. I'm a millennial. I understand what that means. I know what VHS is, and she has plenty of that. It was a very different mindset back in the day. Imagine walking to a store, walking to a person, greeting somebody. My face was red. Guess what? I'm very, very ashamed of expressing myself even. I don't know how to speak up. I don't even know there's a thing called Toastmasters at that time. And being through these obstacles, one of my church pastors advised me, it's probably best for you to learn about culture by doing something, by actions. So my experience in culture, overcoming the culture barrier, is by acting on it, by facing the problem head on. It's the best way to resolve it. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of your page, you have a handout on defined culture, and these are the summary that I want to share with the group, and if you can write down the blanks as you take the notes. From my experience, I believe culture can be easily felt rather than measured quantitatively. It's the quality that matters. Feelings, quality. Terry is an excellent comedian this morning, talk about experience. Part of experience is what? Feelings. Part of experience is what? Quality. Now, there are quantitative metrics we can measure. Coming from a very competitive region in Asia, it's all about grades, scorecards, GPA, but there are stuff that you cannot measure. And one good example I can give you is when I first come to Ohio, I was in the city of Dayton and Cincinnati, working between both, and that's when I was involved in District 40 before I met Scott. I was already involved in Toastmasters about 7 years at the time, and this is my binder. I want to bring it here to you to show you, this is what it takes to get a DTM. You got to put down the action flow. A lot of content, agendas, awards, and my best, these are the old ribbons that they gave me, because they don't have the new one. So give me the old one, the vertical one. I kept it. Now, it's important to have achievement, but it's also more important to share their value through different methods. I learned that when I first involved in Cincinnati at the time of searching for a Toastmasters club. I don't know where to start. But due to my cultural background and my involvement, I also ended up with a Chamber of Commerce in Cincinnati called the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. I was a board member there, helping to facilitate trade commissions, exchange students, business, networking, etc. One of the meetings, they invited me to go to a festivity that hosts one of the largest food festivals called the Asian Food Festival in Cincinnati. Right now it's hosted at the waterfront this weekend. I was there as a volunteer and also to help them. And during my exchange, I come across a booth with Toastmasters on it. Like, wait a minute, why is a Toastmaster booth in a festivity fair? They were doing a lot of food items at the time. You won't give me any food. I'm like, so what are you giving out? The club on the headline said Cincinnati Tostados. Anybody speaks Spanish here? Habla español? This is a bilingual club, a English-Spanish speaking club. I got it. This is the club. I got to check it out. So I went there, and at the time they will have a vacancy to do PR because they're struggling with membership. So I went there. Maybe I can help them, but at the time looking for a club to join, not only to join but to contribute, to act, to serve. I believe that helped me. That opportunity helped me to land the chance for me to join that club, Cincinnati Toastmasters. And also I was learning Spanish at the time, trying to pick up my third language. I think this is great because through that experience, through that acting on the experience, I learned how to not only combine culture in my life, but culture through organizations like Toastmasters. And I believe through my experience that culture is a blend of location, in the hand of location, people, values, and practices. I have already mentioned it's demonstrated through actions. Culture is something that you have to act on rather than words. And if you're good at it, people will draw to you, and you will become the magnet that cultivates group and teamwork. My experience in Cincinnati Tostados not only doubled their membership, I'm also able to host several events for them through the mayor of Cincinnati and also through the Chamber of Commerce, through the entire Ohio, Southwest Ohio region. That was the time when I spent time in District 40 before I met Scott and a couple events in District 40, and now ended up here about a year. So now without further ado, I want to go into the subject about how culture relates to Toastmasters. I want to introduce Scott. I met him through a TI session in District 40. He gave us a workshop about club growth, club climate. I think culture has a lot to do with it. And with his expertise in District 40, that can cultivate club culture, that can not only draw members, guests, promote membership, but also building a club quality. So without further ado, I would like to have Scott to go into a little bit more about how culture relates to Toastmasters. Thank you, Scott.
I'm really excited to be here, coming from District 40 to District 10. This is my first time outside of District 40. But I want to give you three little microcosms of club culture as I perceive it. This will get us into an individual exercise that you'll do, and we'll also have a group exercise. But I want to make sure that I give you just a little bit to think about before you get into that. I want to review three aspects, and again, on your handout, I want to point out the first one. All club officers' presence and behavior matter with club culture. They indicate the club culture. So all club officers' presence and behavior indicate club culture. That includes punctuality to meetings. It includes them being involved in the meeting in terms of taking roles, preparing for them, like David said, the quality of it. That's very important for the officers to do that. They are the leader of the meetings. They set the tone. They set the tone for the meeting. Let me give you an example of a club that I have in my district, in my division, called the Brewery District Toastmasters. These guys are extremely proactive. They are present. They are professional, and they participate. Let me give you an example. I asked them. I said, I need my division to get more club officers to be trained. The president of their club took it upon themselves and said, my club officers will train, we will host. I was taken aback. This was awesome. They took it upon themselves to help train the district in Columbus. We had 35 people that showed up. It was towards the end of the month. It was a great experience. The president sets up video equipment every single meeting to record the processions of the meetings. Guys take action. This club does really well. They are already Presidents Distinguished. They were Presidents Distinguished as of April 1st, but they really got it at the end of February. Now, yes, they had to go through April renewals, but they got it at the end of February. 10 of 10 DCPs by the end of February. So these guys know what it takes. The second thing that I want to go over is that clubs that model hospitality and generosity set the best tone for clubs. Hospitality and generosity. How do your clubs greet guests? Do you just kind of let them go sit down by themselves, or do you make a point to go sit next to them and talk to them about their goals? What do you think about that? Do you get your guests, or do you get your new members to participate in the meetings? Do you get them to do their icebreakers, or take a small role in the meeting? Or do you just kind of let them speak up? You're probably not going to do that. Let me tell you about a specific situation that I befriended a prospective member, a guest. He emailed me as the VPPR of my club. He emailed me and said, I'd like to know a bit more about your club. When do you meet, etc. He came to the first meeting. I sat next to him. His name's Matt. And I said, Matt, what are your goals in Toastmasters? What would you like to achieve? And he says, I just want to become a better speaker. I want to become a better leader as well. I said, well, you're in the right place. Well, he didn't sign up the first day, but he came back for the next. I sat next to him again. This time I was prepared. I had my PC right next to me, and we signed a deal right then and there. He committed to be a member that day, and I signed him up. Next meeting, he came back, and I said, Matt, when do you want to do your icebreaker speech? And he says, well, this one's kind of tough, but let's do it in June. I said, great. Got with the VPE. VPE is already scheduled for the first meeting in June. And I said, well, I'm not going to leave you out to dry. There's one other thing that I want to do. I want to set a specific time before you do your icebreaker, and I want to sit 30 minutes with you. I set a time. I said, let's look at our calendars. May 19th, 8 o'clock p.m. Let's have a half an hour and let's talk. Let's talk about what you want to do. Let's talk about pathways. Let's talk about that icebreaker speech and get you on the right road. That type of attitude, I think, is going to be very, very important for you to retain members, and it creates a great club culture. The third point is club meeting style, agenda, and theme should be fun. F-U-N. We already got a really great view of fun from Terry today. Wasn't that pretty amazing? A very dynamic speaker, very fun. I'm going to take 3 items from that. One is food. Food is important, especially for open houses. If you're having any open houses, even if you're not having open houses, having food, whether it's at lunchtime or in the evening, you need something just to tie you over. You need something. Food is always a great attractor for that.
Speaking about food, plenty of that, and I'll pass it around
We'll
later
pass
during
this
the
out
exercise.
during
You will not leave without it.
Yes, during your individual or group times, we'll pass some of this out for you, because I know my mouth's getting a little bit, actually my mouth is watering for those Jolly Ranchers right now. But anyways, even Dr. Ralph Smedley said that learning is very important to us. It has to be a matter of enjoyment in our clubs. That's the way we learn. One way that we learn is to enjoy ourselves in the meeting. Be fun and have fun in the meetings. Maybe you can take some things away from what Terry said today. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, he gave you 20 or 30 items to look at. I wrote down my notes. It's crazy. Jokes. He talked a lot about jokes. Maybe you have a joke of the day. Maybe you don't have a joke of the day. Maybe that's a good time to get that right at the beginning of the meeting. Clean jokes, of course, right? Right at the beginning of the meeting, joke of the day. Get the ice broken right off the bat. The last one is recognition. You know what? I know I like to have fun when I get recognized, and I'm sure that other people do too. So make sure that you recognize your fellow members for creating or achieving levels, achieving DTM like Larry just did. I'm sure that there's going to be something in your club that says, hey, Larry got DTM, present with all that stuff that you just collected today. So really important for you to do that. Now, area contests, if you do great in speech contests, it's a great opportunity for you to also recognize people, recognize them for their achievements. That makes it fun as well. So again, well, let's get into an individual exercise here. So we're going to shift kind of now into a SWOT analysis. On the other side of your handout, how many people have seen the SWOT or heard of the SWOT analysis? Most everybody. Well, SWOT analysis, for those of you who don't know, is an opportunity, it's a quality tool for you to assess your own club. So I want you to think about your own club. David and I have given you maybe some ideas of what goes on in your club. Write down your strengths, write down your weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Let me maybe whet your appetite a little bit. For a strength, maybe you have well-developed club success plans. You know exactly what you're doing. You've got officers that are planning. Maybe there's some things there that you can do. Are you guys on time, or are you guys always late? Is that a strength for your club? You guys were always on time. How about a weakness? Maybe you don't have that interaction that I was talking about with your members. That time together, that talking time, that figuring out things together. How about threats? Low attendance? Low attendance, that's a threat to the overall health of the club. Again, think about your own club. And then opportunities. Maybe you need to have membership building contests. Maybe do something creative in your own club. There's a lot of Toastmasters materials out there. Successful club series, mentorship programs, TLIs, COTs. We're actually saying COTs and TLIs, anybody can come. We want everybody to visit. It's free. What an opportunity that is to learn more. So those are just some things that I want you to think about your club, what you could do. So I'll give you about 3 minutes here, and just write down some things that come to your mind and put those in the strengths, opportunities, weakness, and threats. And then what we're going to do after a few minutes, we're going to divide up the room and we're going to have you guys share and talk about those with your club or with your fellow groups. And then we'll have a time to present those.
We'll spend about the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.